6:02, call this workshop to order. Thank you everybody for being here. Just a couple things before we jump in. Thank you so much for being here. I know this is a little different than our regular scheduled workshop at noon. If possible, I'd like to do this the next couple months in September and October for budget workshops. We'd like to, hopefully, we'll have the general fund budget for you to look at the September workshop, will be the 17th, and the public works budget to look at on October 22nd. So I just want to give you a heads up. Working hard to have those for you. We're working hard. We've got some, I think, some helpful things in this budget process. We really want to communicate well of how we're putting tax dollars to work, how the departments are funded, and where that money's going. That's what we're working on. So, with that, I'll ask Joy to get us started with we don't have any old business, financial report ending July 31st, 2024.
Okay. So, I'm going to go through my typical things, and then I've got a bunch of kind of untypical things. Page 4, the sales tax is up mid-year, 152,838 over this time last year, but it's still 138 below the forecast. Page 5, we're still continuing to work through the 911 consolidations. Streets has dipped down to 68 days in cash, but we're continuing to monitor this closely. We know, the capital purchases are driving that. We've reined back in our regular operating expenses. So we're just holding the course. And Bryant Parkway continues to be on track. Treat, did you have anything you want to add about the Parkway?
Not yet. Thursday, I hope to have some real good concrete news for you. But the county is working very hard in the city on Hill Farm improvements. Things are going well. Weather holds. Things keep going well. We're going to be in good shape. So hopefully by Thursday, I'll have something very specific.
We got the Garber invoice through the end of June. So I would anticipate we'll have the McGeorge any day now. And so it's all on track. As you probably already know, the state funding for our meter change-out loan, the ANRC $3.5 million, is on this month's agenda with Bond Council. So that's great news because that's actual forward momentum on getting that money. And I don't know how many of you guys were here for the meeting right before this meeting, but that's critical for our water and our wastewater and our future plans. And then the last ARPA investment money is coming up, like the investments come and due. And when that happens, I'm going to move it into the 515 like it's already been previously approved to do. So that's on page 7. Yeah, page 7. If you look it up. It's ARPA investment 007 account, that 836,612, that's the money I'm talking about. So it's going to go out of that account and go into the 515. Let's see. I did want to let you guys know that as of right now, we intend to attend Fall Fest. And I would love it if you guys come by and see us. We do the stormwater and the community engagement group. And we're working on a budget survey that's going to be online this year instead of the paper version. We're hoping we can get more participation in our budgeting surveys. And the only thing we're waiting on still on the audit status is our clearinghouse submission from the auditors for our CEPA with the feds. So as soon as we get that done, then that'll be wrapped up. I plan to update the 120 days calculation soon because we could do it over either February through July or January through June. I'll run those numbers, probably run it both ways and then bring it to you guys. And I think that's all I have for just the regular monthly stuff on the regular report. Did anybody see anything they had any questions on?
All right, we got some budget adjustments we'll be bringing to you next week. Joey will
Yes, I did want to
Cover
point
that.
out that, you know, we have the new form, and I don't know, Treat, have they've seen the new form?
They haven't,
have
no,
not.
they haven't. This will be the first time we've got it on the council agenda. So what we try to do is the agenda item history sheet, we've created something similar for budget adjustments that has just more information about the budget adjustments. You know, Joy usually does this. So this will be it'll give you more info.
So give us feedback when you see that format, and I also need to fill out that form too for the ones that I did on this list. So most of these have to do with transfers. That investment movement is on here because we had, I think, 400 and something already booked, but it's going to be that full 835,000. So that 493 is the biggest one, is that move. The court auto fund was requested from the courts department on, I believe it's to cover their scanning that they're doing this year. Just a little tiny adjustment to the state drug fund. So did anybody have any questions on any of those? Oh, and I did have one to add that's not on here. From Tricia for her, I think it's called Best Friends Grant. She received the money in last year, but she received it toward the end of last year, and we didn't get budgeted this year, so it's going to go into her miscellaneous line. The funds are there, but it wasn't put into the budget, so it's going to be $5,000.
Correct.
Where's Sage Creek? This, oh, okay. What emergency do we have over there?
There's a gravity line back there that actually going through the wastewater master plan. When we put their flow meters in, we identified a key source of I&I. So we're going to get that done now. They closed two, lift station 5. Lift station 5 has the floodway and has its own problems. So we're going to do that in-house though. So that's materials from that.
Okay.
It's about 2,200 feet of sewer.
That's the kind of info you'll get on the new form.
Sounds like I'm gonna like it.
Yes, I think you will.
All right.
It's called the Lisa form.
Yes. Speaking of Lisa Form, the capital purchase report.
Oh, my favorite form.
That's what she's been waiting on.
Okay, streets, days in cash. 3 purchases were made this month that were actually from 22 and 23. The dump truck came in, the tractor came in, and something else. Oh, the pedestrian signals. But those were all rollovers from prior years, so.
Which we are looking at a different way to handle that in our budget process that I think you guys are also going to like. We're looking at our cash reserves, and one thing that I figured out through Tyler is I've asked the department heads to look at their open purchase orders when they start to put in, so that we don't have this same issue again. Because we've always had a timing issue where, you know, and there will be some amount of it that we can't predict. And some of these we wouldn't have been able to predict because we would have thought they were going to come in a lot earlier than they did. But to the extent that we can predict anything, we're looking at that.
Did anybody have any questions?
So what'd that do to our days in cash?
It dropped it to 68 days.
Ooh.
So it is.
But that is, other than, there's 2 or 3 trucks that we still have to upfit. That is the end of streets capital for the year.
But where do we like to be our cash? Where do you like our cash to be?
100. I like 120 days.
state says 90, but.
So how do we get back to 90 or 120?
Well, that's what I was just gonna say, but I kinda wanted to get with Tim first, but, I mean, I've already started looking at it, I opened it up to him just yesterday, the 2025, and, I think we will be okay for building that back up. Also, keep in mind that we have that money coming in from the school, so we're doing those improvements, but they're going to pay us back, and we haven't got that money yet.
Okay, so the improvements we're paying for is coming out of the 68 days or whatever. So that should build it back up.
Yeah, it should help, yes.
Okay.
So, then, did you have anything to
I can't remember, 120 to 177,000 anymore in design work for Hill Farm that will be, we got the final invoice today from Garver, so we'll submit for reimbursement to the school for that. And we're still waiting for some miscellaneous invoices from some of the contracts that work out there to pay for it.
And what is the amount per day?
ours was 68 days?
Like, what is the total per
I
day?
don't actually know off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look. Like I said, I do need to redo those too because we do them based off the last 6 months. Because the last time I redid them was at the beginning of the year. So let me redo those and get you guys that. I'll send it to you in an email.
Because $177,000 sounds great, but if that's 30 minutes, we have a long way to go.
Any other questions on that one?
Thanks, Crystal.
The next one's the doozy.
Yes. So Amendment 78. So we want to get your feedback on this. If you're agreeable to this, if this plan makes sense to you, we would put this out next month to bid and bring it back to you in October for approval. This would be in the 2025 budget. This Amendment 78, the bulk of it is the pool pack, which we all knew that was going to need to be replaced. But since we knew we were going to have to do that, we also have vehicles, trailers, other things that departments have been wanting. Parks and planning are going away from enterprise leasing, and so these are vehicles they want to purchase. So the money that was going to go, that has been paying for the enterprise leases, will pay for these vehicles. So we're moving away from leasing to owning. We think it's going to be better for the departments that had been using enterprise. The police they're going to do something a little different. And then we're looking at a piece of property for a future fire station next to the property already owned by Parkway Elementary. That will help us in our long-term planning, especially if we're going to start to annex and grow on the northeast side of the city. We're already kind of seeing the Midland neighborhood that we're looking at annexing. So that's kind of the idea. We wanted to since we're going to go Amendment 78 for the pool pack, I wanted to kind of add these smaller things that we've been looking at and talking about for some time. So again, this would be October council meeting, 2025 budget. It's up to us to find the money for it. So we're already prepared in our budgeting process that if you approve this, we'll find the money for it in our budget.
So a couple of other things too, Creek touched on some of it, but the enterprise, it got us through a particularly rough market on vehicles. It served its purpose, but other than PD, most of the other departments don't really need it or like it or want it anymore. And we kind of like to get back to where we own our vehicles and we pay them off over 5 years, but some of those low mileage vehicles on our departments that aren't on patrol, we can keep those 6, 7, 8 years and be okay. They don't necessarily have to be, so that's the way we used to do it pre the enterprise, and I don't know how many of you guys remember back pre-enterprise days, because but it also would allow us more of an ability to structure that a little bit better, and plan for it. We do it every 4 or 5 years, we do an Amendment 78 and look at our fleet and assess, Right now, the way Enterprise works, we're essentially just renting those cars. And like I said, it was a good thing to have it, and we probably kept us having the ability to get cars when a lot of other places weren't able to get them during the pandemic. But I think, it served its purpose. And then, let's see, there was, the pool pack doesn't include sales tax in these numbers right here. But the other thing to think about on Amendment 78 is the last couple of ones that we've done, we've had some issues where we didn't spend the money as fast as I would have liked for us to have spent the money. And it's silly to me to borrow money and start paying interest on it and not spend it. And so part of that is, you've got to hit that sweet spot of, you want the banks to be interested and you want them to bid on it and give you the best interest rate. And the market is very volatile right now in terms of interest rates, as I'm sure everybody knows. So I really have it's anybody's guess, but we'll get back. But you also don't want to borrow money that you can't spend within the time frame, and so there's that. Let's see, I had several notes. Basically, I was just going to remind everybody, I don't have a crystal ball, and like I said, I don't know what the interest rates will be. It's possible we bid it out, and then we can't go forward with it, with the 2025 budget, and if, then we'll just have to bring that back to you guys. Oh, one other thing. The possibility of paying some of the other ones off early, so that instead of taking this year's out of savings, take the ones that we were due to pay up in 25 and 26 out of savings and run that through our 120 days and see what it would look like. And if you're wanting to know which ones I'm talking about, you have them both in your audit, this last audit that you got copies of on page 66 and 67 by year. And then you also have them in your budget book on page, I think, 31 and 32.
Am I missing the breakdown of this? Like,
Do you have this one?
yeah,
Yeah,
but
but it doesn't,
it doesn't tell us anything. Is that broken down even more somewhere?
I can get you the detail. Do you want like how many cars and?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can send that to you guys after this.
like the vehicles and the trailers, and like how much the full pack was.
yeah, how much
and-
is
Yeah,
the
the
back
full
off?
pack in here is 935,000. And so you can see that's the bulk
And do
of,
we have, how many quotes did we get for that?
So we have gotten 2 quotes on it.
Okay.
We will, it'll be bid out, but, we currently have Batson Engineering that's doing the aquatics study. This was their recommendation in that study, was to go through Harrison because they are the authorized pool pack.
I figure there's only a few people that can actually do it, but.
I can tell you, there are multiple companies that will probably bid on it that will still call Harrison to get the equipment, but then we also talked to getting away from pool pack completely and using, because there are other brands, dehumidifier. This one was the lowest on that. I think that the quote we got back on a Soresco was 1.4 million. So.
Is there advantages to that one? Like, does it last longer, or?
I don't think so. They'll tell you that it is, but like I said, Batson Engineering, who we hired to do the aquatic study, this was their recommendation that I included here in this Amendment 78. So, and this quote was 2 weeks ago that they sent. So,
Okay.
Technically, like Joy was talking about, that timeline is fragile because we can't replace the pool pack in the winter. It's going to have to be replaced once the temperatures raise next spring.
Really?
It has to be. In the summer, we can open the roof and get away with not having one for a little while. In the winter, we can't open the roof. So that's when Joy talked about the timeline. That's the sweet spot, is entering into this when we can still have enough time to get the full pack replaced. But yeah, so I think that this is probably our best option from what we can tell going forward right now.
So this is what the engineering that we're
Yes,
we're
this is
doing.
Batson Engineering. They reached out to Harrison. They actually requested this quote from Harrison for us. and that's what they will be at Parks Committee in September to present the full study, but I did tell them that for this meeting, we needed this part of it ahead of time, so.
And then most of the vehicles, I believe, the department heads mostly were using state contract pricing. So, but I can get you more details on the numbers and the amounts. And send that out to you when I send the 120-day count.
So community development and parks are just going from enterprise to owning the vehicles. Animal control's the department that's, their vehicles in the worst shape and need some major upgrades. So they would have, there's 3, 4, there's a horse trailer and adoption trailer and 5 vehicles. That's what I have here, but we'll get you all those details. But yes, it was state contract.
Is your idea to buy them outright and then amortize it? Oh, okay.
So Amendment 78 allows cities to go up to 5 years on paying back. And so that's the way I would structure it. You're gonna hear next about the fire truck. It's a little bit different.
Yes. And so when we bring you if you approve this, when we bring you the 2025 budget, we're looking at different ways to pay for it in 2025, like potentially paying off 2 Amendment 78 that we are currently pay those off to free up that money in the yearly budget to pay for this. So there's a lot of different ways we can come back to you in the 2025 budget process to say this is how we're going to pay for this Amendment 78.
Would we be able to see cost comparison for purchasing the vehicles versus the lease that we're currently doing side by side? Or would it involve getting a bid for the new vehicles?
You can see what the state contract amounts would be, but we couldn't afford to do it. You know what I mean, for all of the departments at once, unless, I mean, I wouldn't think we could. I mean, I guess, you know, because, and it doesn't necessarily make sense because they are going to be assets that we're going to have and use over that period. So, you know, I think there's only certain things that you can use Amendment 78 for, and that's one of them. The capital assets you buy have to have a life of at least 5 years. So it spreads that cost out over. The only downside is paying the interest. So you've got to look at the interest rate. But I can give you the amounts of the state of what it would cost, you know.
I guess what I'm saying is just if we're going to purchase vehicles, like what that amortized over the 5 years versus what we would have been paying for leasing.
Oh, if we kept them from enterprise.
Right,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying, just the 2 of them next to each other.
Yes,
So we can
we
say,
can do that, but the only thing is that we are at the end of our enterprise things, and, I mean, we could probably ask them for what the new ones would be, I would
the
imagine.
new rates would be.
But the ones we're currently doing, you know, we no longer can get. They're gonna go away on their own, so.
I think that would be, what John's asking for would be helpful.
Yes. yeah.
Sure.
Just so we can have a look at what the dollars.
The enterprise rates have continued to increase
Yes, yeah.
since we entered into it. So every time we've gone back and traded in vehicles to get new vehicles, we're getting a higher rate every time.
So they're getting rich off
But
us.
so the cost of vehicles, that's probably the reason why, honestly.
Sure.
Yeah, but, you know, it is, for a city, like I said, I mean, we might have some departments that could give their vehicles to another department and have a lower use, you know, in years 6, 7, and 8. We did that for years before we did this. And/or there's still value to other smaller cities to buy our used vehicles. If we rent them, we don't own the vehicle, we have nothing at the
Sure.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, so I mean, but I will do, but, yeah.
Yes.
For curiosity's sake.
You're saying that when, if we purchase the vehicles after 5 years, we still use the vehicles, right? The standards aren't like after 5 years, we're trading them in and getting a new one and starting the whole cycle all over again.
No, I mean, that wasn't what, before, like I said, pre-enterprise, that wasn't what I experienced here or at Hot Springs.
Okay.
Usually what happened is, you know, even if a current department didn't want to use a vehicle, you know, they might give it to another department that has less mileage use, you know? I mean, we had the one that sat here for City Hall that, I mean, it probably got the least amount of use You know, and I don't know how old that thing was when we got rid of it, 12, 13 years old. I mean, it was, but we didn't use it a whole lot, you know what I'm saying? So it made sense to keep it till it costs more to maintain it than to get rid of it.
The Parks trucks are a good example that we bought 7 years ago. Is that right? 6 years ago?
And we
That
got-
are still in great
there's
shape.
left in those, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's kind of one of the things the department heads are looking at. If in 4 years, 5 years, when those trucks are 11 years old, being able to have the choice of trading those in, getting some value from them on gov deals, and going and buying, you know, so you're just kind of half your fleet you're replacing every 5 years, and then just giving us options. But again, it was a good, Enterprise was a good decision at the time, and now the departments are feeling like we would like to go in a different direction.
And it still benefits PD. They want to stay with it for a lot of theirs because, you know, they're upfitting and doing all that extra stuff to get their cars to where, you know, Enterprise handles all of that for them. You know, so, I mean, that's a lot of logistics to do all of that internally.
And they don't replace all of them at
No.
once. They're on a cycle that fits.
Yeah, exactly. And they're on a higher mileage, you know, a lot of theirs are, you know, they're going to be spent by, and in fact, one time when pre-Enterprise, instead of doing the 5 years when they were 78, when we were doing police vehicles, we did it over 4. Just because we knew, you know, we weren't going to be able to keep them. So, but yeah, there's a lot there.
We'll get you all of those details. So this has to run in the paper for a couple of weeks. Is that right, Joy? So we'll get you those details. If there's any concerns, just let us know. If bringing it back to you in October is bad, if we need to have another meeting, it's fine. Just want to make sure everybody's on board before that October meeting. All your questions have been answered. You've seen all the details, and you can, you know, just give us the green light that we can bring this to you for a vote in October. Again, that allows us to go ahead and start working on lead times for the pullback, mostly, and getting things in line so we can hit the ground running.
Are we sure about this 3% interest rate?
No. I mean,
we
you
are
see
not.
you see what I wrote there.
I know, but how do we get a definite interest rate? Like, how do we know
We
what?
bid it out and usually they'll hold at least 30 days. In this instance, I'm gonna ask, I meant to email our rep at Regions and ask him if he thought it would be possible that they hold those for 60 days. I mean, I can only ask, you know, if they won't, then they won't. But I'm gonna ask for them to hold them for 60 days to give us some time to consider our options. So when we bid it out, in years past, you know, I've gotten pretty good response from 2 or 3 banks. You know, I usually send it to a bunch of them.
Because if you can get that, I want you to get me some too, would you?
Well, I actually meant to like underline that because that's way, way optimistic. I mean, I don't think that it'll be anywhere near. Yeah, I was just giving you a for instance, you know.
Okay.
And you know, people say I'm never optimistic. Then maybe.
Who says that? Who says that?
All right.
Nicole, you said it.
It's definitely Nicole.
Any other questions about that? Again, we just wanted to introduce it to you. If you have any questions, make sure we can get all the information you need. Okay. Not asking for a decision tonight, just wanted you to know where we're leaning. All right. This is something that we need to bring back to you next week.
Yes, as a few of y'all know, I've come to the last workshop and let you know the condition of our present ladder truck. It's a 2071 Bronco, 100-foot platform, and it's struggling. I went back and did some research and everything. Found out that out of the last 26 months, the Bronco has been down 16 of those months. This is our major heavy hitter when it comes to big fire in the city. This is something that we've been looking at, trying to find ideas and things we can replace it with. We found a company, the same company that we bought our last fire truck with. It's a Rosenbauer. They have a line position for a truck to be produced. It should be ready February of 2026. So it's going to be about 2 years ahead of schedule. But we're in a situation where we really need to make it happen. The price tag on the truck's going to be $1.95 million. With equipment and everything, looking at financing about $2 million. One good thing about this truck's already got a position, it's got a line number to be made. It's going to be, should be done no later than February of 26. If we went ahead and ordered one today that does not have a line number, you're looking at paying an extra $50,000 to $100,000 for the new engines that have the new government mandates imposed on them. So that's going to add $50,000 to $100,000 to that. Also, with this one, if we ordered another one today that was not in line, it would be 30 to 40 months before it could be produced.
So we locked it down, we paid $2,500, and we locked it down until,
September 22nd, we need to make a decision before September 22nd. We signed a contract, an agreement. If we did not sign a contract by September 22nd, September 22nd, we will pay them $2,500.
So, you know, and I think you guys they got my penciled in additions to this page, right?
yes.
Okay, so, we were back and forth with this because of course there is the potential, and we talked to Brian Bowman, bond counsel, you know, he advises on our Amendment 78. You know, we could put this amount of money into those other numbers for the Amendment 78 and pay it out over the 5 years with the rest of that. But this you pay a premium in here on this, and you can do the math. It's hefty, but they allow for a 2-year deferment on the first payment. So,
And that's 2
You know,
years from when we signed the contract.
yeah, that's 2 years.
that
So
interest-free?
this first payment would not be due until September 2026. And, you know, where we are right now in trying to look at all of our capital, bringing the other departments potentially away from enterprise to doing the Amendment 78 and everything. I mean, I was literally back and forth, like, thinking about it, and, you know, I will take any and all input because I don't have a crystal ball and it's not a sure thing. It's just a judgment call. But at this point today, I think we should do the deferment. It smooths out Brandon's payments too, where we won't have a whole bunch where they're overlapping, you know, if we do it this way.
How old did you say your current one was? What year model?
It's a 2007.
Jeez.
The problem is, they don't make parts for it no more. It's,
No, I was just thinking, you've had it a while.
yeah, it has, and for a truck like this,
Got your
it's
money's
done
worth.
pretty good, because that thing,
Yeah.
it requires a lot of training for this. Another good thing about this new one we're looking at, it's only 20% proprietary. 80% of it you can get over the counter. We do a lot of our own maintenance and everything, trying to save money and everything. This right here is a good selling point for these trucks.
So, any questions on
questions?
this? I mean,
Who does the maintenance?
There's several of our guys. We're, guys,
So we do it in-house?
yes. Now, not everything can be done in-house.
Yeah, what we can.
Sometimes we have to send out and everything. But right now, we're looking at, this truck's still down. It's probably gonna be down for another 3 or 4 months. It was down, it's been down since February.
Is it because
And-
parts?
and the issue is-
Can't get parts?
Yeah.
This is the truck that goes up to any multi-level buildings, guys.
Any kind of hospital, like.
Yeah, you're
our
talking-
hospital,
Yeah.
And then the taller hotels and everything, this is our,
The
So
schools,
we don't have
the
that on it?
hotels,
we got the 75-foot ladder. That's more for residential.
Not me.
and to retain your ISO rating, you have to have one of these.
yeah, I mean, if I was in y'all's shoes, I don't think it's a question of whether we get this, it's a question of
How
do
we're
we
paying
go
for
with
it.
this version to
Right,
do
how
it,
we
or do
pay
we go
for
with
it,
the
yeah.
other because we have to have it. I mean,
Yeah, we do.
Well, we were very fortunate to find this one
Yes.
in line, ready to
This
roll.
saves
Yes.
us probably a couple of years in the
Yeah.
long run, so.
And, you know, like I said, I mean, the lease purchase options, you're not gonna get the same rate, we're not bidding it out. This is a company that does this for fire trucks, and we actually, the last one that we did was with this company. So, the only issue that my department could remember was, there was a little hiccup with insurance that we owe Crystal because she works with Arkansas Municipal League, and these pockets here, they allowed us to insure those as equipment as they came, up, and then we take those pieces of equipment off and put the truck on when it goes from being equipment to being the truck. So, that allowed us to work through that insurance issue.
What is the deferment gonna cost us about?
What's the what?
Deferment?
No, well, I don't know, because it depends on what we get back on the Amendment 78 rate, but, if you look at what you're paying here, you're paying $300,000 in interest over the period of time, but, you can't, it's not straight line, it's compounded interest, so I don't know exactly, and they would not give us a
And we
schedule.
tried to.
Yeah. So, but, 2 years deferred
Thanks, it would
is
cost a month on that truck.
it's pretty nice, so.
It's just the cost. of
Yeah,
the
that's
truck.
where we landed.
Yeah.
Deferment,
That's
the
not
deferment
fuel.
is good for us where we are right now as a city.
Yeah, and
Now,
if you
let's go
guys,
ahead and move forward with this.
if you guys want to take these numbers and work them and look at them, and, like I said, I'll take
Well,
all feedback,
We gotta have a truck.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how we're paying for
Yeah,
it.
it's just
Yeah.
whether we're doing option one or two, right?
Yeah,
I mean, really,
I
that's
hate
gotta-
deferred, I hate deferred payments personally. I get that we got to, but it drives me nuts.
It does help us in this situation, just for the simple fact that we're ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm talking about, we need to order a truck, I like paying for things now, I don't like waiting.
And I'm kind of that way too, and Friday, I was like, let's do it, and then I ran the numbers, and then Monday morning, I came down to the tree, I thought about it all weekend, I don't know, I really think we need to do the deferment, so I was back and forth, openly so, I'm, like I said, I'll take any and all thoughts on it, because it's a judgment call,
You think it's a good thing? You're all the experts.
Yeah, it allows him
I know.
to smooth out his payments. We were lucky that we found this truck, and we're lucky that it fits in with when we need it or whatever, but, in years past, they were really pretty good about always spacing theirs out. If we do theirs now, they're gonna be making 2 payments a year instead of 1 payment,
Let me say this, if you have a strong opinion either way, the deferment will be at this point, the deferment will be on the agenda. If you have a strong opinion, please let us know, because we gotta make a decision about what we present you. That's where we are, at this point, but if you as a counselor want something different.
If y'all think it's okay, I'm fine with it, I'm just,
No, that's why we're kind of wanting to do a workshop to hash this out, make sure whatever we bring to you is something that you're confident in.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer, really. It's just a judgment call, What do we want to pay for that deferment, is basically. And we can't know the exact amount because we don't know what rate we're going to get on the Amendment 78.
Right.
But we do know that if we bid the Amendment 78, we do not have to do it. So if it comes back with a really bad rate and we determine we can't do it or we need to put it off, I think we all know where we sit today. There's a lot of ambiguity in things. In the next few months, we could come back and revisit all of this in January of next year and be in a totally different place.
would you keep your old one?
No.
I'm just curious.
No, well, and the reason I laugh is it's actually gonna be a challenge getting rid of it. We might have to scrap it. I don't know if nobody in their right mind's gonna buy a truck that's that complicated, that's that old. That's what I'm scared of. I'd almost feel bad selling it to them.
This is recorded.
I know, I don't know, maybe
Hey,
it'll be somebody's
he's an honest
meeting, you never
man,
know.
Needs to be in a museum.
Yeah, there you go.
It's one of those things, you might have a dorm bar there, you can buy it for parts.
Put it over
They
there.
got Broncos and everything because the parts are so hard to find. There might be some department that was willing to.
Oh, we got a historic society.
I don't think it'll fit in that building. Put it in the parking lot.
I say leave it on rentals, call Carl and tell him somebody abandoned their vehicle. Maybe others do.
I will say on a positive note, next week before the council meeting, we should have the new fire truck ready. and on display for y'all to see.
That'd be cool.
I
Okay.
wanna ride on this thing.
And you're happy with these people, right? Like they've been treating you good and,
I think this is our best bet.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Will we know what that interest rate is? I mean, we're gonna do,
Yes.
we'll know it by next week.
Oh, no, no, I have to
Right,
put it in the
out.
paper, they have to
Well, we-
respond.
we know what the one is on this one. They've got it
Oh,
right there.
this one we know, but the other one, the Amendment 78, we won't for a little while.
As soon as we know, you'll know.
Well, that's not a bad interest rate, really, on a $2 million vehicle.
No,
I'm sure.
Apparatus.
Making it somewhere.
Apparatus.
Get insurance on that?
The last thing in your packet, I think, Lisa, did you ask for this at our last?
I might have.
What is it?
It sounds like something I would have asked.
Okay, all right. Just our, stormwater capital, we got planned and what's budgeted. So I wanna make sure you have that.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, well, that's all we had as far as the workshop. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate your time. If you need anything, any information at all, please let us know. Again, thank you so much for your time. Any questions or comments or?
Yeah,
Are you cutting the meeting short next week or prolonging it for people can go to the pep rally?
Yeah, you got a lot of business.
well, also Thursday is the Chamber's 50th, anniversary at the Chamber at 10, if you can make it.
Yes.
This Thursday.
This Thursday.
This Thursday.
Yeah, this Thursday.
I'm sorry, yeah, this Thursday,
Okay, that's what I thought.
2 days from now.
Yeah, it was confusing because she was talking about next Thursday and then you mentioned, I was like,
I'm talking about next Tuesday.
next Tuesday.
Tuesday is the
Yeah, I'm sorry.
softball pep rally. Yeah, I don't see any way around. We got work to do.
I mean, we could have the city council there,
Yeah, I mean, is
Set up
there,
at Everett.
yeah. They're inside.
That'd be interesting.
That would be-
Yeah,
is there potential to
people running through
adjust the
there.
meeting day?
It's up to you guys. If you want to, if you would like to change the meeting so we can be at the pep rally.
well, don't you help sponsor some of it, John?
Yeah, we do a little bit of stuff. But I mean,
I'm open.
What day would you want to move to if we wanted, if you,
Wednesday?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what everybody's availability is, what the
I mean,
notification requirements are. I mean, we're still out far enough where we could change a date if we wanted to.
Do the 29th.
I mean,
Is there
with the
something
calendar.
there?
Can we check with Ashley tonight and then get her answer and let you guys know in the morning? How many days do we have to have notice? We're gonna change.
I know it's 4 days if it's a regular meeting.
Yeah, I mean, there's not, I mean, it's, or we just call it an emergency meeting and handle this, I mean, that's the, I mean, you know, like, is there anything
Can you
that
change
prevents us
the
from?
time? And the pep rally didn't last super late. I mean, could you push it back? I don't know if that's a,
Potential.
You put, if we have a lot on the agenda, we'll just.
I'm gonna be in shorts if we have to, if we go to that pep rally first.
oh,
Let me
I'm
know,
with you. Just,
because it's gonna be like 2,000
Push
degrees.
it back an hour.
I just.
Well, I mean, I think maybe talking to Ashley and seeing what options there
Yeah.
are.
To move it.
And then let's evaluate from there. I mean, is that fair to everybody? I feel like it's probably a good thing for,
I mean, this is a big deal, the softball.
yeah, I mean,
Do it Friday during.
I mean,
we were grilling burgers last year, I mean,
we won't predict the score.
I think John and I have been 2 years running on that grill, man.
that's right.
Well, yeah, we'll get back to you on that and
Okay.
make some changes so we can go to the pep rally.
If we're able to,
Yeah, we're able to figure that out.
yeah.
Okay. So be on the lookout for a lot of communication. We're going to give you more details.
We're ready for it.
We're going to give you details on Amendment 78.
And Star, if you're not at that pep rally,
You're picking me up!
Changes, times.
Hey, bring the fire truck. We might get me too.
Well, you know,
Hey, let's go.
since we're all going to be there, we have to report it as a public meeting. Anyway,
Just keep them, all stay apart from each other.
all right. I'll entertain a
We all got-
motion to adjourn.
Sick there, you.
Motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
So,
All in favor?
I gotta go eat.
Aye.
Thank you.